today's draft. As mentioned previously and more recently, best of 7 series we would have loved to have seen in the National Football League. Completely unrealistic, but I think a certain element of fun. Chris, have a shot at it.
All right. I think I'm going to go back to the 90s. To me, one of my favorite Super Bowls ever, and certainly could have watched 6 more games with these two teams and the two quarterbacks going at it. And that's the Broncos and the Green Bay Packers. That Super Bowl, what was that? Super Bowl 31, right? I believe off the top of my head. That to me was
2.
So that was 32. Okay.
31
Yeah.
31 was Packers
Patriots, right. 30 was Steelers Cowboys. But that to me was one of the best Super Bowls ever. It had everything in it. The NFC had been dominating for so long. We were at the point where we were like, the AFC team just can't win it. They're just not going to do it. And then, of course, it was the Elway factor, and Brett Favre was the new-aged Elway. And that whole dynamic to me was special. Mike Shanahan, Terrell Davis, the running scheme, everything there. I would love to have seen a best of 7 with those two.
First one for me, without question, without a doubt. We were robbed of the rematch because of the 1985 Patriots. It would be the 85 Bears and the 85 Dolphins. The only team to beat the Bears that year was the Dolphins on a Monday night. I still think the highest-rated Monday night game ever, the biggest audience ever for a Monday night game. Dan Marino and company got it done. I would want to see those two teams go at it. Best of 7, best of 9, best of 11, best of 13.
Yeah, I hear you there. I do. That's a good one by you. It's funny how it works out, how, like the Bears, as great as that team was, that Dolphins team might have been its kryptonite to where, if they saw them in the Super Bowl, that might have been like the one team in football. Chicago might have been like, oh, geez, this one could be a toss-up. That's a special game. That was a special night. And Marino was amazing, of course, at that point. All right.
I wonder if the Dolphins tripped over the Patriots because they were thinking about the Bears.
I know.
I wonder.
Yeah, I know. I hear you there. I wouldn't be shocked by that. I would not. All right, this is where I'm a little torn here on which one I want to go with. I think I'm maybe cheating without the specific year because there was like 3 years where you could really say this. But
I know what you're going.
Cowboys 49ers, early 90s. To me, again, those games were so good. Those teams were so clearly the best teams in football that I would have loved to have seen a 7-game series between those two. I really would. Again, I think
we almost got one.
We
almost got one in the playoffs.
Right. And we got we got 3 years of them matching up in the NFC Championship game. I mean, 2 out of the 3, the game could have gone either way. There was the one in the middle where the Cowboys clearly won it. But, man, the 49ers are Steve Young and Jerry Rice and that crew against Aikman and Irvin. I mean, wow. To me, that's one of the golden era matchups of football right there.
I'm going to go back just a couple of years ago. They didn't meet in the playoffs, but they met twice in the regular season, and they had an epic Week 17 game, the last game of the season, the 2019 Seahawks and 49ers. Right? The 49ers ended up getting the best of the game, and they made it to the Super Bowl and almost won it, and they were up 10 points in the fourth quarter. But that Seahawks-49ers series, play that 7 times that year. Those two teams were as evenly matched as they could have been.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, the Seahawks 49ers it's definitely been one of the better matchups in our league over the last 10 years. I mean, starting back in the early 2011-12 there, those were some damn good teams and special matchups there as well.
All right, one more round to go. I already have regrets about my second pick. I should have gone 2021 49ers-Rams, but still, Seahawks 49ers was special in 2019. Chris, round 3, you're up.
Okay. I'm going to go to 78, Steelers-Cowboys. 78, I mean, again, you could go 78 or, what was the other one, 75? I mean, either one.
78 was a better Super Bowl,
It was a better Super Bowl. I'll bow to you since you were watching it live, old-timer, and you would know better than me.
I was alive.
It was 35-31. Yeah, you talked about it in the break. Hollywood Henderson stripped the ball out of Terry Bradshaw's hand, ran it for a touchdown on the same week.
Jackie Smith drop.
Yeah, sickest man in America. Bradshaw can't spell cat if he spouted them the C and the T. So that had some great storylines, let alone they were the 2 best organizations in the sport during that decade. I would love to see that.
All right, I thought about the 2008 Steelers-Cardinals because that was one hell of a Super Bowl.
Yes, it was.
Sneaky, great Super Bowl, and it was back and forth, and I would have liked to have seen them keep going. I also thought about, what else did I think about? Well, you said Cowboys-Steelers.
I had Pat
Here's the one I'm going to do.
on there. Yeah.
And that really, when you consider Super Bowl 49, and Tom Brady talked about that yesterday with Dan Patrick, too, how the Malcolm Butler interception was one of the all-time great defensive plays in league history. And how can you deny the accuracy of that assessment?
Right.
I'm going to go with two teams who didn't even meet in the year where I would have liked to have seen the best.
Broncos, Vikings, here we go.
There you go. How did you know? Broncos, Vikings, 1998, the two best teams in the NFL that year. But
I know.
Thanks to Gary Anderson, who missed the 39-yard field goal, the only kick he missed the entire year. We didn't get to see Vikings-Broncos even once, but that would have been a great back and forth for 7 games.
No doubt.
If it went 7.
No doubt. It was one of those years where it was clearly two teams that were above the rest of the league in the NFL, and the Broncos and Vikings were that. And, yes, that was one of those where it would hurt to not see that matchup in the Super Bowl.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.